for you.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining, guys. Today we're going to talk about all the travel hacks and travel tips you've got in general. More specifically, how to travel in a better way, not to be bored, how to travel safely, everything you know about airports, airport hacks. Of course, it changed a lot in the past few months, but there is things that are still applicable and things that we also learn to live with and to travel with. So I think we're gonna try to talk a lot about that today. There is one thing that I first started to want to talk about because I saw it in the news like the other day, talking about people that live in an airport. There was I think it's 34 people, but I may be mistaken, maybe less, but 34 people that are stuck in the airport in Paris. They are Moroccans people, and actually the borders in their country and both our countries closed during the time they were in layover in Paris in the airport. And so they are stuck in the airport for 3 weeks now, and they are still counting the days. So yeah, there's that. I think that's one thing that happens sometimes, like we see in the news, because people get restrictions from the country or from the country they get flying to. And I think that sucks out. But I think that could be a good segue to the first point as well, also to talk about how you guys plan on a trip and how you do your planning from point A to point B. I don't know how you guys do it, but most of the time, I try to have everything offline, everything printed. Try to have all the paperwork that I need printed, so I don't have any issues with batteries and phones and everything. Because I know for a fact that my phone right there is just lasts I don't know 3 hours and afterwards it's dead. So there's that as well. I try to keep everything printed, either the flight that I need to take, the paperwork that I need to have, everything. How do you guys plan your trip when you're going abroad? How do you plan to be sure that you're not going to miss flights, going to lose a luggage or anything? How do you guys do your planning with that?
I would like to say that if I tell you now that I'm super planned always, I think a lot of people I know who would be listening here would laugh really loud. So I'm always the one who is last minute on onboarding, last minute in the airport, last minute packing. And I tend to pack last minute the best way, because then I know I take things that I like. The times where I plan my packing, like the clothes that will be packed, and I'm like, oh, this I haven't worn in a long time. I come up to the place where I am, if it's holiday, if it's living, and I'm like, no, I haven't worn it because it looks like crap on me. So the times where I just throw in what I need, what I like, that's the best packing. But I will say the times where I planned the actual trip, like downloaded the boarding pass, not relying on internet to have my boarding pass on an app. I have some different other things, but the times I've done that, that's the best travels. So I will always advise to make sure that you have a little charger for your phones. Download the good playlists you really like on Spotify. If you have Netflix, download a few episodes just in case you get stuck or you're super bored in the airplane. It's an airplane that doesn't have, uh, screens or anything. Download a few episodes on your favorite movie or favorite show. Plan a bit of snacking if you should get hungry. The planes have quite shitty food.
Oh, they do. Depending on the flights you're taking, of course, but most of the time it's just, you kind of expect it. It's not like a major restaurant. It's just in a plane. It just needs to be there in case you're really, really hungry and you can't do without it. But you shouldn't really rely on the food in the airplane whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not so good and it's very expensive as well. You can usually get really nice stuff by yourself before. Not everything, of course, like drinks or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. And how do you guys what do you guys plan for the airport? Linda, you talked about that you are always kind of the last minute boarding for the flight. Just going to the airport. We're going to talk back about that as well afterwards. But what do you guys plan for being in the airport? Like you talked about music, films, and everything. Do you guys like have things that you cherish, things that you always bring with you when you want to, when you're going to the airport? Lalo, if you've got something.
Yeah, book and music, but the thing is, like, I listen to my music on Spotify. It's on my phone, so it lowers the battery as well. So it's a bit the same thing that you said. It's like I print everything off. Yeah, I would say it's basically bringing a book and even like a notepad and something to write, like just to make sure I've got the full range of activities. Even though I'm not even sure I'm doing it on the moment, it's just when you get, you're like, okay, I need to have everything ready and there. So, yeah. But yeah, otherwise just go to the cafe and wait a bit earlier.
I try to always have some easy work to do if I'm there early. Like if I actually planned my trips, I'll be there as in the correct time. You have to be in the airport and everything. I like to just sit with a cup of coffee, make sure I go to the toilet before I board the plane. I always have this jumper. It's super old. I think it's like 10 years old, but I can have it almost under each jacket I have. It can fit. I can crumple it down to almost nothing in my bag. It works as a pillow. It can work as like a little blanket over myself. Airplanes always are super cold for me. And I will always advise people that even though you have a big winter jacket, have an extra jumper on you, either to cover your legs or to like use as a pillow, something. So that's one of my best tricks. Like I always have this with me when I fly, even when I'm going from a hot destination to a hot destination.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. I think like well, the same thing. Like as always. Well, I mean, not because we have a podcast, but also try to download a lot of podcasts when I'm traveling because that's easy things. Like you can like download one or two. Like it lasts you an hour and a half, depending on what you have, and it's always a good thing to have. And as you said, I think like if you have the chance that you can work from your computer or your phone or anything, like you can prepare some like easy light work, like responding to some emails or like doing some easy tasks that you can do without being too concentrated or something. And that's things that actually works quite well. Well, you talked about like being in a cafe or being like in advance when you're taking your flight. There is also the fact, like I know because both Linda and I we've got Revolut, so we know how it was as well. But we know that you can also actually access some lounges. Did you guys ever try to like either pay or not pay, but go to lounges to try to work a bit there or try to relax a bit?
Myself, I never had a registration to an access to a lounge with membership of flying. Like I'm not that big of a frequent flyer, but I had a friend who actually was working for our Asian airline, and so an SAS having the link together. So once we flew back actually from Gothenburg to Greece, and we had to stop as well in Copenhagen. We stayed in all the lounge in between and stuff. So that was nice. That was really nice. Felt like people had access to stuff I usually have to look for and pay by myself. But there they just had buffet breakfast already, and it was kind of nice. So if you ever get a chance to get access to the lounge sometime, do so. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think I would actually pay more for it. I prefer to go to a cafe that I choose in the airport because often they have like. I don't know if you like Cafe Nero or like Starbucks or something, but they usually have something that you like. Or so yeah, it just depends on the people.
I'll say it depends on how long my layover is. If I have a layover that's more than 2 hours, I actually prefer to pay. I think you can get most of the normal lounges around in Europe for about 28 to 30 euros. And in the end, if you have to buy a meal or access to the toilet, even some places you have to pay for that, like a water, some snacks for the next flight, whatnot. It's cheap. It ends up being cheaper to go to the lounge. Then you have free Wi-Fi. Some airports you have to pay for Wi-Fi. So if it's longer than 1.5, 2 hours, I would probably add that. Like I would pay. I normally do that. And then also just a tip, if you travel a lot, it is really worth to get one of those credit cards or travel bonus systems where it's freely accessible. Like it actually doesn't take you flying that much, depending on.
You need to be like, I think, I don't know, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the time you need to take quite the same airlines or the same group of airlines. But I think, as you said, like, I think it's easily accessible. Like if you're flying, of course, nowadays it's a bit more complicated, but
if you look into it, there's also some schemes that actually provides it without the same airline. But like, yeah, it's worth looking into if you're flying quite often. I will say.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot. And yeah, I thought about that because I know that I looked at it like a few days ago. Don't know why, but just on the Revolut account, you have like the same easy access kind of to the lounges.
Yeah.
I found that like that's also a good tip if people have it. Like it's quite easy to have it. And do you like? Well, we're gonna go back to what you're saying. That you said you're always like on a rush to prepare, but do you guys think that there is like really a security, like a secure amount of time that you need to be in the airport before you're actually gonna miss your flight? Because I know, like for a fact, we always our general rule of thumb is to be like 2 hours before the flight. Like that's what people say, but I also know that I mean it's always too much. Right?
They say that within Europe, if you already have your boarding pass and everything and you don't have any check-in luggage, 1 hour is sufficient. If you have to check your luggage in, if you have to go outside of the European Union, then about 2 hours. I would say I have been very close to missing a flight, and I was in the airport about 25 minutes before it took off. But if you're cutting it very close, you're normally getting in the nice security line because you're like, oh, I have to reach my flight. And if you're ready to like run, if you have sneaks on and not like high heels, and you're ready to run for the gate in a big airport, you know, you can make it, but it's not something I advise. Like for the comfortable of the trip, don't do it.
Good point.
It's not
It really depends on the size of the airport as well. I found like some airport literally can come even like 40 minutes before flying because it's so small. It's just one gate. So, but like some others, like they're so big, like it takes an hour to get to one side of the airport to the other. So when you have a connecting flight and they give you this like hour, you're like, oh yeah, let's have a break. No, you don't even have a break. You're like actually running from one gate to another. It's horrible. And you arrive at the flight and you're like, so hot and sweaty. Like it's not nice. That's not the way you want to travel. But sometimes you have no choice.
But I will say people often forget that for transits, if one airplane is super late, then you have a very short transit in a big airport. Actually, the crew members are really willing to help if you just ask them. Like we once got like a secret trip from like we landed from Malta, Frankfurt, and then Frankfurt, Estonia, Tallinn. And we had like 20 minutes or less in Frankfurt airport. That's impossible to get from one end up to the other. So Lufthansa was actually taking a few of us who had to go to that transit, and we got under the tunnels underneath the airport, a special bus for us and everything. So as long as you just flag for them that, hey, and if you're traveling with the same airlines, they're more willing to help. If you're changing airlines, it's kind of your own fault. But if you're asking them, they're normally super willing to help. You know, they can give assistance.
I think that also one thing that people may forget is that there is people in the airport working to help you as well. I mean, there's a lot of people that you can ask for either directions or if there is tips or even there is things that you wish you knew. I mean, there's a lot of people working that you can ask for if you've got any question about it. And I think that's also a good thing. If you're really lost and you don't know what to do next and you're totally lost in the airport or anything, like, oh, you can always ask. There is always be someone that is willing to answer your questions.
And a little tip about being last minute. So I hope we don't have I know we don't have too many people listening in on this podcast. So I can give this tip, okay? And maybe the airline will change their procedure. But Ryanair often offer that they will check in for you. So you buy a Ryanair ticket. They say, oh, we can check in for you, and it'll be done automatically as soon as the check-in opens, about 72 hours before. You don't have to think about it. Don't do that unless you already paid. But because they will pick a seat either in the middle or in the aisle for you. So they leave all the window seats to the last minute. So if you haven't chosen a seat, haven't paid extra for that, but you then leave it to the last minute, still within reasonable time, so the night before or however, just before they closes, and you actually pick a random seat for you, 90% of the times that will be a window seat. So if you like window seats and you don't want to pay for them, make sure that you check in at the last time.
Yeah. No, that's very true. That's very true. But I think that's a really good tip. But I've got another problem with that. It's just that the regular seats are really too small. Like I'm just way too big, like to be like in those normal spots. That's just another nightmare. But I guess like I mean, for the price you pay, generally I can't really complain because of course that's cheap.
For that, if you have long legs and you kind of want to stretch them, sit on your jacket. Like the higher up you sit on the seat,
Yeah.
that you actually get for your legs. I have a tall
Yeah,
friend who
that,
told me that. So
yeah, that's a good one too. That's a good one too. That's a little bit more comfortable. That's still on the bed, but that's all right. No, I confirm.
Yeah. You also, I think, get more space if you sit next to the exit doors in the middle, because I think they
Yeah.
need to have like a way, or you pay extra for the front.
Well, yeah, usually that's the thing now, that is that a lot of airlines do make you pay if you want to be next to the exit door in the middle,
Yeah,
or
but
at the beginning as well.
I think those are actually the worst seats, if you ask me, because it's like you cannot have any belongings with you. You need to store everything in the, I don't know, the cupboards or however
Top,
they
yeah.
call it. Yeah, so if you want to have your bag and your stuff, you can't. So yeah, they're more strict with you. They stay next to you all the time to check that you have nothing there. So yeah,
That's
the
very true.
joy.
All right, we talked about how where you're gonna sit and which flights and everything, which seats you're gonna take. What's your outfit when you are going to a flight? Like, I know for me it's just having like the most comfortable like pants I have, just going with that, and having a hoodie, so that way if like I'm just bored or I just want nobody to talk to me in the in the plane, just like put the hoodie on and everything is good. What's your guys' outfit like? How do you want to be dressed like to be the most chill during the flight?
For me, it just depends how long the flight is. Like, I'm gonna wear like lounge wears, like if it's like a 10 hours flight or like a night flight as well, because you don't want to be bothered. Like, honestly, you just want to be comfortable, and sitting too long on the plane, it just kills you. If it's a short flight, I think I'm just dressed normally, but like what we said before, like I like to have something warm, so I will keep my jacket on me as well as a blanket as well and a jumper. It's always so cold, like even if it's so warm outside, but the air conditioning so like so strong. So yeah, that would be my wear. I don't know. What about you, Linda?
I used to, so they also depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing just
Yeah.
after I get off the flight, obviously. But the night flight, I used to travel super comfortably, not very pretty, and if they fly quite normally. But I have some friends who works on planes and in airports, and they told me that people who are dressed up a little bit, they normally, if and that's super unfair, but that's how it is. So if you're dressed up to business, you probably get in front line, or you get in the special treatment row, like faster through and everything, and that's just how it is. And my friends who works in airport confirmed it. So actually I started traveling like a turtleneck, a really plain turtleneck. It can look classy, but it's also super comfortable. And then
Well, I think for that, then you just need to buy like PJs with like a fake, tie and suit on it, just like so
maybe
it looks like professional, but actually you just in
Under the
PJs.
jacket, you can see
Yeah.
this.
But like I then found out that not jeans, but like super comfortable black pants that has a bit of stretch, but not like tights, like pants, but with a bit of stretch, and some nice comfortable boots.
Okay.
And a nice jacket. And because you look like to fit you and your hair back in a bun that doesn't bother you. I hate having my hair everywhere. When you have a shoulder bag, it sticks to that and everything. So like looking like that actually would make you sometimes get ahead in line if you look a little bit busy or important or everything. So it sounds super strange, but it's comfortable, but it looks smart. So that was the tip I got from friends working in airports.
Okay.
That makes yeah, that's really unfair, but all right.
Unfair, but there's like it's worth dressing up a little bit for the airport in that way, or like think.
Yeah, that's well. It depends on your objective, because like I'll be super honest. Like I don't give a crap. Like I wouldn't dress up just because I would be like first in line or anything. But I could see how it could be practical for some people.
I'm not a very patient person, so for
Yeah.
me, if there is nobody in the fast lane and security check, and I have a chance of getting in there without me paying, like just go, then I would definitely. It's worth my turtleneck, and like it's still comfortable.
Yeah.
And then I have something like, I think especially for girls, but I am very, very cold all the time. So I actually have my scarf with me all winter, spring, fall, maybe not in the summer, but I always have and it's a really big scarf. So when you fold it out, it actually becomes a blanket for my legs and my feet.
Typical. Yeah, everybody knows that
Perfect.
scarf. The big one that just serves as a blanket.
Mentioning it.
Of course. Of
That's really
course.
nice. Like once I was in a flight, took a Korean Airlines, and they gave us sleepers for the flight, so we could remove our shoes, and we had like white slippers in the plane. It was really cute. But yeah, it was comfortable. You don't want to wear your shoes too long, but though you have to. But
I will say if you're flying too long, those old women socks, the compression socks, are much worth it, because if you take your shoes off, sometimes you cannot, if it's really tight boots, you cannot get them on again when you land because your feet will have swollen.
Oh my
And then you look dumb.
Traveling to a cold country, it's not really nice that the only thing you can fit in your luggage is a pair of slippers. Because you had your shoes off. So just think about that.
Yeah, that might things to be worthwhile. Yeah, speaking about, I think that you guys took like what do you usually take in your carry-ons? Like I know that it's might be easier for me because I'm a guy, of course, but just I try to pack as light as possible. So I've got like one carry-on, like there's just exactly the size of a carry-on, and usually I've got that and maybe another one, but that's usually I've got only one bag, maybe two, and if I've got like two bags, I try to have like two carry-ons, but at least. I mean, I've got some. That's also another thing. But I've got some camera equipment, so I've got. I want them to be with me, not like, of course, in the plane. And that could be everything for people that have laptops or equipment or any other sorts of things. What do you guys want to absolutely like keep with you on a carry-on when you're flying?
2 bags is good because you know what, like it's more comfortable to carry if you have a lot of things, and eventually if you go for Ryanair or another airline that decides to check when they didn't check on the first way, on the way back they're like, okay, let's see how much luggage you've got. It's nice to have one bag, but yeah, like book, music, like earphones, car mix as well, it's nice. With dust. And like some water as well, because in our plane like get really like drying with the air conditioning, you always get sick when you come out of it. So yeah, the basics, I would say.
It's different because a lot of the people who would be listening to this podcast would be probably checking in a luggage or something, and like always do that when you're moving abroad. I mean, you need that. But I always try for shorter trips that are a week, even sometimes almost 2 weeks. I can travel only with carry-on. I'm not keen. I don't have any patience. I'm not keen on waiting in the airport. I'm not keen on like having my luggage lost, because that happened to me many times as well. So what I'm normally doing is that I'm trying to check which airline I'm traveling with, and many of the airlines within Europe, they don't weigh your carry-on luggage. So my carry-on luggage can actually turn out to be very heavy often. So that's the suitcase that I have.
Bring it.
So that's really heavy. So the only trick you have to do is that you have to look when you lift it up. You know, that's a bit of exercise. So it's 15, 20 minutes that you have to be like, oh, this is super light. And then just to ask others for help to lift your suitcase, then it's probably too heavy. It's not 8 kilos. So that's the only issue, that you have to be like, you know. But then on the side, I always have like a bag that can take my computer, if that's a backpack, or a little over the shoulder, my computer, all my electronics. And I'm diabetic, so I'll always have my insulin with me. I always have even with like when I have a check-in luggage, I always have a little bag of liquid. So I have like a deodorant, a small toothbrush, stuff like that, just in case. My luggage got lost so many times. I'm not happy to be coming into a meeting and haven't been able to brush my teeth or use a man deodorant, because that's the only thing available in the hotel or whatnot. So I'm trying to have like a little one, not a big. But just
and now I think it's worth mentioning that you can like take like hydroalcoholic gel also if you want to travel a bit safely with the COVID stuff, of course. Like, I mean, supposedly, like I think you can't take things that are more than 100 milliliters. So basically that's the same thing as well. But I think you're right. Like having things to like freshen up in case of all situation, because I don't wish to anyone, but in case you can lose your luggage somewhere or your other company lost it, I mean, you never know. Like you don't know what can happen, but at least having the essential.
One of the annoying people for the airlines, because I will, most of the times, if I have one of those like almost 2 weeks, I would have like a fanny pack or like a very small little bag underneath my jacket, with my extra stuff in. So there will be my mobile phone, my like all the things that I will have to show all the time. So I don't have to dig into my other two big carry-on bags.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
I actually have 3 bags, but just don't show it. I got a tip from another person that no, I shouldn't tell that tip because airlines will probably at some point get held of it.
The podcast gonna be shut down by airlines. They're gonna be like, wait a minute.
Influencing people to do the
Their
wrong
rules
things.
and security because of us. Okay, I'm not gonna. No.
No, but yeah, that's true. I mean, like, I need to prepare like having anything like I know like I try to be like super minimalistic, so that's still easier like for me, of course. But just I always like if it could be like for 1 month or 1 year, I'm just never gonna have like more than 2 carry-ons because I try to like really be small on everything that I take because I know like I mean I've got clothes. I don't really care about the amount of clothes as long as I can have like 1 week of turnover or something and then wash it and everything is good. But I try to be like
Good
super
guy.
excellent. Yeah, that's true. No, but that's true. That's very true. I mean, I get it. That's very true. But I can't do it. So
shorts and 5 t-shirts. So
yeah. I mean, like
Depends
I
where you
can't.
go as well.
Of course, like I mean, I can't do it. So I will enjoy the fact that I can put everything in and carry on. But that's true. Like even if you don't have like if you want to take a check-in, of course, the things to take if you're gonna go abroad. But at least like having the bare minimum in a carry-on so that you don't have to stress about like even if your luggage is like taken for 1 or 2 days. Like I know like I have like a friend of mine that unfortunately went to Canada and actually he had a layover in London and he arrived in Montreal and actually his luggage was still in London, so he had like a carry-on with him but didn't have any of his clothes. So I was like, yeah, that sucks.
It happened to me as well. So yeah, but they give me like a night pack and stuff. But like when I flew to Iceland, there was like some kind of delays with the flight. There was like a snowstorm, and like they didn't have my luggage when I arrived, and I was staying there for a long time, so everything was in there. They gave me like the smallest pack and like a oversized t-shirt. They were like, okay, you have this. I didn't get my luggage for like 2 weeks, so it was horrible. Like to borrow stuff from everyone, it was very embarrassing. And you never know.
Yeah.
But
just spare things, like even if it's 2 t-shirts or something, but just in a carry-on in case you never know what can happen. But that's
some clean underwear, a pair of t-shirts, whatever. Yeah, that's a really good idea. But with that being said, if you're moving abroad, mind you that people are normally not weighing your carry-on. So if you have something a bit more heavy you want to bring, put it in your carry-on. And that's not traveling light for you. You have to carry it. It's a carry-on. You have to back and forth and carry it around the airport. But then don't like just go from gate 1 to the other gate and sit there. Don't wander around in the airport and buy a lot of things. Like you can actually pack relatively smart.
Yeah, that's one thing also, as always, as you said, like a carry-on, like it's meant to be carried. And like there's so many people that, because like if you take Ryanair, for example, like you can have like one carry-on, but if you like want to go, like you need to pay extra to have two or something. But actually, as a matter of fact, like people paying for two, they usually have like this small luggage with wheels, which is actually a carry-on. But all of the people that have this kind of small luggage with wheels, they've all been asked by the company, like, can we weight it? Can we like measure it? Like if things, see if everything is normal. But if you actually have it like on your back, on your shoulder or anything, like they never bother you. Like I've never been bothered by anything for the weight. For like my thing is just weighing. I don't know. It should like shut down an airplane because weighing like 20 kilos, that's just insane. But I've never been asked to weigh it or just to measure it because I always had it like on my back and never asked any questions.
Lucky you.
Bags as well. I got away with that by just having it over my shoulder, not as a trolley. And I'm pretty sure my weekend bag can take a lot more stuff than my trolley can. But again, just because I'm carrying it, it helps a lot.
Yeah, having a large coat as well helps, because I know like they were inspecting our lines at some point and my bag was like, I had 2 carry-ons as well and we're supposed to have just one, but because it was under my coat they couldn't see it and we're like, okay, whatever. So I mean, it's not good doing it, but but
that's
it's
also
true.
the fact that I think like having on my bag, I had the chance, like I'm quite big, so of course like the bag seems a little bit smaller on my bag than it would on someone that is just like 1.60 meters or something, of course. So like,
maybe be like, okay, please step.
Yeah.
But it's so bad when you say like it's true. It's like you get into the airport, you get through security, and you think like, okay, I can purchase some of the liquids now that I'm inside the airport or whatever. And then actually you have to sort of do another small check-in to get into the gate in some airports. And then it's when they're like, no, you shouldn't have bought this. So sometimes you can't even get anything. And sometimes even in transit from one airport to another, it's like you would fly from one place and then get to the other one and purchase something on the way, and they don't want liquids or stuff like that. So yeah, you have to be careful with this. Yeah.
Yeah, really careful with the.
The tip is you can always buy all this like tax-free stuff in the last airport you get to, because you land in the tax-free area. It's very few airports where you land in directly, like go only here, you cannot buy anything. They want you to buy as much as possible. So even when you land, you can still buy tax-free. So unless it's because you're coming from a super cheap country to a very expensive country, there is that within the European Union. Then like make sure that you don't buy a lot in the first airport you're in or the second one. Save it for the last one, unless buying very specific items.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, like oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, it was just quickly like saying like sometimes where you get off from the plane, you get back inside basically the airport with all the duty-free area.
That's
but
what
like
I was gonna say, yeah.
yeah, but some other airport like in the UK, like Gatwick or like Heathrow, it's very bad. You just come on the outside and it's like 2 ale of just alcohol raw and that's it. And you're like, okay, so if I want to get something on the way, yeah, let's go. There's nothing else. It's not so nice if you want to bring back some nice products and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, it depends, but that's right. Yeah, generally, like you can have everything. I mean, the same products at the airport, like you arrive to. There's some exception, as you said, but generally you can have like everything that you wished for. That's true.
I have one other tip that I do. I talked about like downloading stuff on your phone. So download like some series and stuff, and then if you're in one of the cheaper airlines that doesn't have screens for you, what I saw this on Pinterest or Instagram or something, but I tried it many times and it works. So you have the liquid bags, okay? That you already checked all the liquids in. So you take your liquids out, put them in your bag, whatever, and then you put your phone inside. You turn on, and you put your headset in or your Bluetooth, whatever. You put it down in the bag and you hang it. You make a little hole in it and you hang it on the thing. You push up and down for the table, and then you can actually have the screen in front of you, so you have to hold it. I do that quite a lot. So I can sit and completely relax and just have like my screen in front of me.
Well, there is also like there's people that are buying these. I don't know how it's called, but there's some sort of a ring at the back of your phone. Like you can basically make a stand or something. But I think it could work as well to like hang your phone somewhere.
You have the plastic bag already. And
rather than put this round thing at the back where you're supposed to hold it like this in between the fingers. I think I got one as well, but not now.
Well, it depends because like maybe not everyone has a plastic bag, because I know like for a fact that my bag actually my carry-on includes like kind of a TSA approved thing, so it's like a totally transparent sock. What I'm saying, totally transparent part in the bag where I can put all the liquids and everything, and I don't have anything to take out of the bag. It's just like I take this pouch out, and it's actually like just directly for the security. But that's a thing. And another one, for your check-ins, like do you guys put a lock on your luggages?
Depends where you're going and if there's like a lot of transit as well. Like if the luggage is gonna go to one flight to another, and sometimes you've been told that it's not really safe and they open your things. I was told this actually when I was going to Mexico, like over there would be better to actually have a lock on it because you don't know on which flight. And in Asia, like Thailand as well. So, but it really depends. Like if you have the lock or incorporated inside the suitcase, or if you put your own lock to it. I don't know. Me, I have it already on it, so I don't mind. I put it every time.
I'm a little bit pro. Like it's smart to have, but then again, if they really want to get into it, they can just open your zipper.
Yeah.
Zipper, it's one little bit and it's open. And I was just told from people working in the airport, don't have a fancy suitcase. Have a super practical one that doesn't weigh too much, but don't let it look super fancy. Okay.
Yeah.
If you see the old lady traveling where they have like a black suitcase, but then they have this little band around so they can recognize their own suitcase when it comes, it looks ugly and it looks well. But the more ugly and casual your luggage look, the less people want to break into it, because then what's inside is probably also ugly and casual. They don't want that. But if you have a super expensive luggage, things that are inside might also be super expensive. So that's just something to think about. Like I'm buying good suitcases that last a long time, but they're never super fancy brands or anything. Because if I check them in and out, have you seen the people that are throwing, the luggage up?
Yeah, they do.
They're carrying so much weight every day. I understand why they're doing it, but then why would I pay for a fancy luggage? And then chances are that if I'm trying to any of these,
will be destroyed or
break into it. So
you better spend money like on a better carry-on and like and better things like you can organize in your carry-on so that you don't have any problems with it than just the luggage. Like the check-in, like you need to put like clothes and stuff that you don't really not that you don't care, but like you don't mind if it's just bumped a bit or something, because that will happen for sure. Like I mean, if you put all your electronics or like things that are highly valuable, like nothing is going to come out.
I don't think you're allowed
even the color that
you're not allowed to put the electronics into the check-in luggage anymore. When I moved Malta to France, I had some of my old phones, and I was like, fuck it, I can just put them there because I just need to empty them, but I didn't do it before I moved, so I had to bring them. And they asked me, is there anything with a battery or anything electronic in there? And I was like, yeah, my phone. So anything with a battery is not allowed. It has to be in the carry-on now.
Have you tried those plastic wrap machine that they give sometimes at the airport where people completely wrap up the luggage? I mean, that's another way.
So that's very true. I've seen that like numerous times, and I was like, but I'm the type of person that always forgot, and was like, I got something to take in my check-in. All right, I forgot that. So I mean, I would just like open it back and forth, so that wouldn't be worth it. But I can understand like it would be like better maybe than a lock, but again, like I think like the tip to remember is just not to put like high valuable things in your check-in. Just like bring only the things that you want to carry and that are valuable in your carry-on. That would be way better, I think. All right. Did you guys like had any tips to add about the airport travel, flight, and everything, or other good tips that you learned along the way? Or
I don't know, like some. Just did you guys get this as well? Like sometimes you don't want to pay for like a check-in luggage or something, and you just have your carry-on, and then they ask you anyways because the flight is full to just have it checked in, so you have it for free in the end. So that happens a lot as well.
That could happen as well. But again, I mean, it depends on your luggage. Like that's why I try to prioritize like having one carry-on that is just, as you said, like with the valuable things, so that even if they ask me to the other carry-on to put it in the plane like trunk and everything, like I can just say, okay, that I don't mind because there is nothing that is too fancy in it, so that's all right. But that happens quite a lot, especially like on cheaper flights, because they try to book it at the maximum. So of course, like sometimes they need to reduce like the weight and dispatch it. I don't know, like if did you have like the same experience, Linda? Or?
Yeah, it happens a lot. One time it happened though. I had a layover. It was from Lisbon to Rome, and then Rome, Malta, and we were delayed out of Lisbon and already had no time in Rome airport, and I had to switch terminals. And I was the lady in front of me got to bring her carry-on luggage with her, but they had to check mine in. And I tried to explain to them like, you can, because I don't have time to go and get and fetch it, and but I had like literally 1 minute till like they closed the gate, and I managed, but it was only because my luggage came out as one of the first ones. So I will say, watch out. That can be quite a hassle.
Yeah, it takes so much time, and it destroys your things inside as well. So if you put your computer there, it's gone.
When that being said about changing terminals, and I think Laurie also commented on it earlier, the fact that airports are quite different. I mean, Malta airport has like 18 gates and it's super small. The same with Isle of Man, but Frankfurt takes like at least 1 hour to transit. So I have an experience where I didn't check. I saw Lufthansa on my ticket, and I was like, I'm flying with 2 Lufthansa airlines. It's fine. Going to Frankfurt, I thought I had so much time in Frankfurt until I realized that the gate that was on my second ticket was actually not a flight ticket. It was a train. Because out of Frankfurt, they have gates that just kind of like from Frankfurt to Stuttgart, it makes sense that it's a train ride. But because it's Lufthansa who's kind of like distributing that ticket, I thought that it was a plane. So I was running crazy to find this stupid gate that I saw on my ticket. And told me,
this is really bad.
But I swear it said Lufthansa on the top of the ticket. So how would
There's not a train.
so again, I am the type of person who's super late with everything, as you can hear. Like I take the risk, and sometimes it blows me. So I will always advise the night before you travel, go in, check which airport you're going to, check how big it is, because even from gate A to gate B, very far, you know. So check how long you have. If you're really busy, there's no time to look for cheap cigarettes or cheap booze. Like just go, run for your gate.
Yeah,
People,
especially Frankfurt.
yeah.
The largest airport in Europe, isn't it? Right?
Yeah,
I think.
at least
I
one.
think he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say like make sure that you just plan a little bit. You don't have to
Yeah.
ages in advance, but just the night before, check that you have checked in, that you have done your things, that you've charged all your things. You don't want to wake up tomorrow and not have a charged computer, a charged phone, you know, check all these things. Just
Yeah. And just
and
planning a little bit of timing, like, like even if you want to like go in a cafe and take your time just to work on anything, just like have in mind the exact hour that the last minute until which like you can stay, and afterwards it's just done, so that at this point in time you just like put an alarm or something, and all right, okay, I need to go now,
but
so that you don't.
honestly,
Traveling is
I
nice also. It's
never
like an experience. Yeah.
honestly, I never go to cafes and airports now. I go and buy stuff, and then I go to the actual terminal, and I just sit there, because then I know that I'm within. And then I see if there's a cafe down again in the terminal. I can just sit in the gate, because in the gates they're normally like toilets super close. There are seats you can sit on, like
Yeah.
and then you can keep it and sit close to one of those that explains, because you have a long layover, they might change the gate as well, but be in that area where your airline is leaving from. And then if you're traveling these days, I will also advise people to take a PCR test. The COVID tests are not nice.
Yeah.
Have a PCR test that is done minimum 72 hours before,
Yeah.
and it's valid until you land in your airport. So even in the transit airports, it's not enough that it's valid when you leave the first airport. It has to be valid when you land in the last airport. And take a quick test as well, because it's not all airports that takes the PCR test as being valid. So you need to travel with both tests.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not nice, but you don't want to take the first flight and then get stuck, be forced to take a test there, and then be sent back home. That sucks even more.
Yeah, that sucks a lot. I mean, that's things to think about. There's just those two things, that the two last tests. I mean, just if you're gonna go abroad like in the next few days, weeks, month, whatever, but just like it doesn't take long. At least like now it's quite easier and quicker now to do the test, and you can have like the results. And yeah, as you say, just need to be really careful of it being like valid when you arrive at the airport. So
and being valid, also make sure that it's in English, because in France you'd get a PCR test in French, but if you're going to a non-speaking French country, it's not. French is luckily one of the spoken languages around the world, but if it's in Danish, for me, I'm not sure that they accept that in Greece. So
no, because that's weird. That's a weird language.
yeah, not cool. So
I'm kidding.
It would be worse in the other way if you think about it, because with Greek letters, it's different alphabet, so there's no way anybody can understand. Is that because like a nay in Danish means no, right? But like in Greek it means yes. So think about it. Think about the confusion around the test results.
So like you need a positive test in Greece to be able to fly in France or Danish. Oh, that's so cool. Super weird. No, but that's true. That's things to keep in mind. But that's very true. I mean, like if you take a look beforehand, like as you said, if you plan a little bit and you're really careful about it, there shouldn't be any problem with it. Yeah. Well, that was a good lot of information from you guys. Thanks a lot with that. And
also, one quick one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Keep your passport close to you.
Yeah, of course.
Almost all big European airports, there are people who like to go around and steal passports. So don't leave them around. I had mine stolen once, and I had 25 minutes to run, check out again with all my luggage and my high heels, run down to take a new pass photo, cash in what is equivalent to 100 euros, and run to the police station to get a quick passport, and then I could go. So make sure that,
Yeah,
You
a
have
zip pocket
paper
or something.
pockets,
Yeah.
don't leave it anywhere. Don't leave it open in your fancy purse. Nothing. Have it close to you, because not all airports you can just get a new passport like that. And
Yeah,
No.
of course. Like, yeah.
No, but yeah, usually like if you got like a coat or jacket, something, so sometimes there is like pockets inside, so like you can like throw it in there
Yeah.
and you're quite safe. Or just a zip pocket, but something that you're sure that it's not really easy accessible. But yeah, you're right. All right, yeah, super cool. We tried to stick to the 30 minutes mark. That was a bit longer than that,
or
but
50 minutes. Oops.
We got carried away with the traveling in COVID times, right? We're dreaming.
that's it. That's right. No, but that's cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys, and yeah, a lot of good information. And gonna see you in the next podcast.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy Easter, guys. Happy Easter.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're gonna have the podcast a bit later than Easter.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, but
okay.
they
We
will
know that we were doing Easter to deliver good for them, right?
All right.
Oh.
We work during Easter for that, so enjoy it more. We work during Easter for the podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. See you guys.
Bye. Bye.